Hi guys, and welcome to our 2025 Carabao Cup final prediction video. Woo! Yes, I'm back with Callum. Like I said, for our predictions for the big upcoming League Cup final between Liverpool and Newcastle United at Wembley Stadium. Big cup final feel. Ooh, very exciting. It's the first meeting between Liverpool and Newcastle in a cup final since 1974. Ooh. And these two great clubs, great fan bases, great history will meet at Wembley next weekend. And who will become the League Cup winners for 2025? It's very exciting. So, yes, Callum, I'll let you get started then. So, what are your thoughts heading into this League Cup final? Yeah, we'll just start with that. Go ahead.
Mixed emotions. I think is probably fair to say. I mean, obviously, I think I would have preferred Tottenham to have gone through against you, of course. But we did beat Arsenal 4-0 on aggregate across both legs in the semi-final. So that has to obviously count for something. I'm very certain we beat Chelsea in one of the earlier rounds too. So we haven't had an easy ride, getting to this final. So that's obviously the first thing to say. But we're also just not in good form at the moment. Like we've lost 5 of our last 7 games in the Premier League. But though to be fair, some of them have been against Liverpool, Man City. We lost against Bournemouth, and things like this. So it's a bit of a tricky time, really. Especially considering we've just been knocked out of the FA Cup by Brighton last weekend as well, where Anthony Gordon decided he was going to, just turn into a boxer and decided to try and sort of push or hit someone over the back of the head. So he got a red card for a 3-game suspension. So he's out of the final, which is, it always seems to happen. The last time, 2 Carabao Cup finals in 3 years, by the way, for Newcastle, considering they hadn't reached a final in God knows how long. We've been here twice in 3 years now. 3 years ago, it was Nick Pope, who had been, or 2 years ago, it was Nick Pope that had a red card, so we didn't have him have to play Loris Karius and goal. And this year is Anthony Gordon, so he's out as well. But we've also got Lewis Hall got injured against Liverpool, and he's been our starting left back all season, so he's not around. Sven Botman has barely even played much this season because he had obviously an ACL injury, and now he's got another knee injury, so he's out too. Trippier might be missing as well, but he might be okay in time. So we're either going to have to play Livramento at right back and play Target at left back, or play Livramento at left back and then play Arts and Crafts at right back. But either way, Arts and Crafts versus Luis Diaz or Target versus Fowler. I'm not sure I'm particularly excited for either of those battles, to be fair, when that ends up having to be the case. And Byrne and Shah in the last couple of weeks have not really been on the ball at centre-back either. So Newcastle haven't beaten Liverpool since 2015. I had to look back at all of the different Premier League games and different things. We haven't beaten. Obviously, a couple of draws. That really good 3-3 draw earlier in the season at St James's Park. But we haven't beaten you for that long. I think only thing I can hold on to is that Isak looks to be able to be fit to play, and when he plays, anything's possible because he's just that player. So hopefully, if he's on form, we've had Joe Linton back in the last couple of weeks too. So we'll probably have the Joe Linton, Tonali, and Bruno midfield 3, which is obviously a solid midfield 3 to break down. Barnes, obviously Harvey Barnes is going to have to play instead of Gordon, but he's an okay deputy for him. Scored quite a few goals. I think he's might have scored more goals than Gordon in the Premier League this season, cutting inside on his right foot, things like this. Liverpool also have 2 extra days rest before the final. Newcastle don't play until tomorrow. They play West Ham tomorrow evening, whereas you played Southampton yesterday afternoon. So it's more than 40 hours different. I don't know if that makes a difference, but people use it as an excuse to recuperate before the final. So we only have,
we've got PSG Champions League.
Oh yes, you do. You have on Tuesday. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday.
But and you are 1-0 up against them as well, aren't you?
Well, Slot will play a full first team for that. So yeah.
Yeah, I imagine so. But I mean, I also can't see him sacrificing a final in the Carabao Cup either. So I imagine whatever team he puts out against PSG will be the one that he puts out against Newcastle. Apart from you can make the changes and have Jota instead of Nunes, or I think Gakpo's injured, isn't he? But obviously when you can switch to him and Diaz around and your midfield and things like you've got a lot of rotational options, whereas Newcastle don't have so much of that. If Isak's not there with Callum Wilson, and we saw how good he did against you a few weeks ago, and it was the Premier League game when you beat us 2-0. Anything can happen in football. Is the main thing to say, and there is a chance. That's what, and of course, you have had a couple of shaky performances yourself recently, which I'm sure you're going to talk about in a second. But I think that's pretty much all I really want to say. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with what you said. Liverpool are, I'd say, the favourites for this final, and on paper, we should probably win. But it's a cup final. I think gets thrown out of the window for a cup final. Anything can happen. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere. We are gonna have 30,000 crazy Newcastle fans, 30,000 Liverpool fans. The atmosphere is going to be crazy in that stadium. Um, I I think it's going to be a really fun game. I think, and like you said, if we have a slow start, which you obviously said, last few games now we've had quite very poor first half performances, even though we've gotten over the line still won in the second half. I think if we have a slow first half against you guys at Wembley, and if Isak is just running at Allison straight through Van Dijk and Konate, then it could be a rough first half if we're not on it. So I think we need to definitely from the first kick not have a slow pedantic first half and then only switch on in the second half because I don't think we can afford to do that against you guys if Isak's having a good game for sure. So this is our third League Cup final in 4 years. It's kind of become our competition now. Obviously, we're the record holders with over 10 League Cups. It'll be 11 if we win this one. Obviously, the last two League Cup finals was both against Chelsea, which we won. It's a big occasion for Newcastle, like you said. It's your chance to win your first major trophy in 70 years, 1955. That is crazy. It's a chance for you guys to avenge the Man United final 2 years ago. You've also lost, I think, 1976 to Man City in the League Cup. So that was so both Manchester clubs have cost you a trophy. And like you said, you haven't beat us in a long time. Liverpool are unbeaten against Newcastle in 17 games. So that's a good start. I think going into a final with you guys, but I think lots of draws and lots of wins. But that could change with this final. You guys could finally get a win over us. It's the first non-Premier League meeting between Liverpool and Newcastle since 2004. Ooh. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it's the second cup final we must have had because the first one was 1974 FA Cup final, which we won 3-0. And the last three meetings, I'm just going off the stats here. The last three meetings was a 2-0 win at Anfield in February. Then a ready fun, like you said, 3-3 draw at St James's in December. And a 4-2 win at Anfield last year in January, which was a very fun game. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Yeah, I love a cup final, and I think you guys are going to be. I think, like you said, you've not been playing very well, but I think for a cup final, you'll definitely be up for it. And you've got some very good players, despite Gordon being out. Obviously, Isak, Sergeant Barnes, Murphy. He's very good. He's got a lot of assists this season, hasn't he?
Had a great season, to be fair to him. Yeah.
Guimaraes, will he be playing?
Yeah, I don't. So I think we're saying the midfield three. I'm fairly certain
Yeah.
because Joe Linton's been back. Tonali's probably been the most kind of under the radar kind of best player I've had this season. I would say, and Bruno's having a bit of a slow patch at the moment, but his quality. When we've showed up and we went on a 9 or 10 game unbeaten run until we met Bournemouth earlier in the season. And it was like everyone was just the football was just so fluid, and it was. I mean, you still see signs of it now. There's still great sort of little dinks over to Isak and off on the wings and all these different things. And sometimes you think, oh my god, that was such a beautiful move. And then other times you just think, what on earth are you doing? Just pass the ball. So I don't know. I would like to think we've been playing better in the clubs in the Premier League because obviously we beat Birmingham, we lost to Brighton, but that was a decent game, to be fair, in terms of back and forth and things like this. So hopefully we just turn up and we can be the best and be, what we have been in the moments this season where we've done really well. And to show up and at least give Liverpool a game. The last thing I want to happen is for it to just be, Liverpool take an early lead, go 2-0 up, and then we're fighting, and it's not a fun game. I mean, as long as we try, and if it ends up being a tight game and Liverpool come out on top, obviously it's better than playing really bad and not putting a good show on for the fans who've travelled. So, fingers crossed for a good game anyway.
Oh, I think whenever Liverpool Newcastle play, it's always an entertaining game. There's always goals, and I have no doubt this final will be the exact same. If I just go, I thought from the soft to finish off before we go to predictions, the full head-to-head history between Liverpool and Newcastle, going back to like the 1800s. So Liverpool 94 wins, it's 45 draws, and Newcastle 50 wins. So we have what 44 more wins, but that's obviously like going out of the full 120 plus year history of us playing each other. And this, so onto the prediction then. Obviously, I want to see us win. Of course, I do. It's Slot's first chance at a trophy in a cup final in his first season, and it's a great. I think the League Cup is a great barometer. You win that, and you can go and push on for other things if you're like in that top bit of the table. Of course, like I said, we were looking to retain it. We won it last year with Klopp. Um, but part of me is, if you guys win, I won't be gutted. I won't be devastated because as much as I want, of course, I'm supporting Liverpool. I want Liverpool to win. I will be happy for you guys if you do win because, like I said, it'd be massive, massive. Your first ever League Cup, won't it? If you guys win, I don't think you've won the League Cup before. So it'd be massive for you guys. Whereas, not to say we've got bigger fish to fry, like Don Robbie, but as in we've still got a Champions League to hopefully go on and win if we don't get knocked out by PSG, and we're pretty much dead set to win the Premier League now. Yeah, but I think after a very hard fought back and forth game, I'm gonna say 3-2 to Liverpool. It's gonna be a lot of goals. I'm gonna say Newcastle score first. We get one back. Then it's 2-1, 2-2 second half, and then I think last 10 minutes, Nunez or Salah 3-2, and then yeah, that's my prediction.
Yeah, you can never really sort of, Salah is just probably the most dangerous player in the world. I think at the moment, I don't think there's any, given the goals and assists he has this season in the Premier League, it's just off the charts with the stats.
27.
So yeah, I'm assuming there's no way that he's not going to be a factor in scoring or assisting in this game because it's very rare that he goes a game without having a goal involvement. Um, Yeah, I mean, do you know what? At first, I was kind of like, as much as I would love to win, and there's always a chance. There's just the way that things are. I just think, Liverpool have only lost 4 games in all comps this season. If you count the 1-0 defeat to Tottenham as well in the first leg of the cup, which doesn't really count when you think second leg Liverpool won anyway, so you can make it 43. Plymouth Argyle, you had a bunch of kids out, and PSV. I don't really say exactly if you had a full team out for them or not, but
That was
So again, with Liverpool's full squad out, I think you've only really lost to Nottingham Forest, and that was just one of those really rare kind of scenarios. So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be really hard, especially with the defense being weakened by the absence of Hall, maybe Trippier, maybe Botman as well. That's going to be difficult to defend against Salah. Do you know what? Let's just whatever. Let's just go for it. Newcastle are gonna win. Gonna win 2-1. It's like and Barnes are gonna score. Salah will get one. Salah will, maybe Liverpool will score first, and then we rally behind the boys. Isak and Barnes get the goals to win the cup, and we get our first trophy.
okay. Like I said, if you guys do win, I'll be happy for you. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'll be really happy for you because first trophy in 50 years, and we're still going to very likely go on and win the Premier League, so I won't be devastated. Yeah.
Whereas if Liverpool win, I'll never speak to you again.
Oh, oh no! Oh, oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! All right.
Oh no!
Okay. Well, there we go. Then. That concludes our Carabao Cup final. Well, League Cup final. I hate saying Carabao energy drink. Go away. A League Cup final prediction video. Yes. So, any Liverpool and Newcastle fans in the comments, comment below. Let us know. Liverpool win. Newcastle win. Will it go to penalties? Will it go to extra time? Because our last two League Cup finals against Chelsea, one went to penalties and the other one went to extra time. Then Van Dijk, oomph. I went nuts, but so yeah, we'll see whether this one gets finished in the 90 minutes. I think it will because there's always lots of goals whenever us two teams play. Yeah, guys, thank you all for watching. Thank you for joining me again, Callum, and may the best team win in the Carabao Cup final. Woo!
Maybe we'll have to do a little if Newcastle or Liverpool win, we'll have to do like a little reaction or something. I can be like, yeah, or I can sit here and go.
No, you'll be doing a WWE. Oh, yes!
And
Oh,
I'd be like, no.
oh dear. Okay, yeah,
Oh
thank you for
man.
watching, guys. And that's match of the day.
Well, if it is live on BBC, that'll be the theme. That'll be the theme that it plays at the
I
start.
think
It's
it'll be on
always
Sky
match day, isn't
Sports,
it?
wouldn't it? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Thank you, dear boy.
Come on, the tune.